Hello, campers. Hey, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining me from, whenever you are joining me from. I am excited to welcome you back to where are we? What are we? This is day 4? Yes, day 4, session 4 of summer camp. And we are halfway through. Oh my gosh. If you are joining me, if you are live, please drop a comment or an emoji or a thumbs up. Just let me know that you are here and you can see me. Good morning, Dave. How are you? Hope you're well. All right, great. We are live. You can see me. That's awesome. I have conquered the technology. All right, so it is session 4. We are halfway through summer camp. We are talking about marketing this summer, which I love. I totally nerd out on this. So I'm hoping you're learning something. I'm hoping that you are being inspired to learn something, to do something, to take action. I'm hoping that the wheels are turning and you're getting some ideas. As always, our goal for summer camp this year is to inspire you to learn something new. Not all the things, but inspire you to learn something new and put it into action and have some fun along the way. Because like life and work should be a little fun sometimes, shouldn't it? There's enough of the non-fun stuff that we should have some fun as well. Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, Joyce. Thank you for joining us. All right, I am starting out this morning with a picture of a cornhole game. Now, I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments. Do you play cornhole? Do you like cornhole? I am a new convert to cornhole. Cornhole. It's hard to say, but I love it. I'm super competitive, and also I'm really not very good at it, but I'm really having fun with it. So I've yet to join a cornhole league, but I kind of feel like I might be leaning that direction. But there is a reason I am starting out with this game, not so you can find out whether I'm good at it or not, but because we are going to talk today primarily about one word: being specific. Now, if you've never played cornhole, like if you've never legitimately played cornhole, maybe you're one of those that you've been to a party and you throw a few beanbags. But the cornhole game scoring goes like this. If you miss the board and you hit the grass, 0 points, right? If you hit the board but don't go in the hole, 1 point. But if you get your beanbag in the hole, in the cornhole, it's 3 points. So why does that matter? And what does that have to do with marketing? Well, a lot of us, we spend a lot of time creating content. So videos, blogs, emails, social media pieces, TikToks, whatever it is. And when we are creating those, a lot of times we're just kind of chucking it at the board, right? And if we hit the board, great, woo, 1 point. And, if we hit the grass, well, whatever, we'll do another thing. And then, like if by chance we get it in the hole and we, strike up a conversation and it turns into a lead, even better. But today we are going to be talking about how do we get this. Now that I'm hearing myself say this out loud, this is funny, but like, how do we get our marketing in the hole more often? That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about how do we email with purpose. And if you aren't an email marketer, I'm going to hopefully convert you today. But even if you are not, you can replace the word email with almost any kind of marketing here. Video with purpose, blog with purpose, whatever, right? Because anytime that we are creating marketing, I want us to have a specific purpose so we can get it in the hole. This is gonna just sound weird and a little bit probably cringe the whole time, but that's okay. Hilarious. All right, so what is the goal of marketing? I have reminded you of this every single session. You should know this by heart by now. We want people to feel something, think something, understand better what we do, and then take action so they will remember us. That is the ultimate goal of marketing. And because that is the goal of marketing, we have a couple of ways that we can get more specific. We can have a couple of ways that we can make sure that we are talking to the right people whenever we are emailing or we are content marketing of any kind. So let's start out looking at the customer journey. Most of you probably know this, but it's always a good little refresher to remember. No matter what business you are in, doesn't matter what you sell, what you do, what your service is. This is the journey that your customers go on. They start out in awareness. They start out with, maybe something in my life is changing. Maybe I need something. Maybe this is something I need. So there's a lot of people in the area that I live in right now that are like, maybe I need an air purifier. We're really smoky right now. And so we're just kind of aware that something has changed and we need something. And from awareness, we go into research. I'm going to start Googling. Maybe I'm going to ask ChatGPT. I'm going to ask some friends. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to see if it's on sale somewhere. I'm going to, if I'm looking for a realtor or a mortgage broker or anybody, I'm going to do my research. So that's the second phase. The third phase is I'm going to evaluate all the information that I take in. Well, my friend said I should do this and so did that. And I learned this and ChatGPT said this. And so I'm going to evaluate. So that's the third phase. Once we get through the evaluate phase is typically when we make a decision. This is when we buy something or we sell something or we hire somebody. This is the make a decision phase. And that's not the last phase in the cycle, right? Because then we become an advocate. Now we tell other people about the thing that we used or bought or the service or the person that we hired. And then the journey begins again. So every time something in our life changes, or even simple, I just decide, so my cheese grater broke this week. I can't be without a cheese grater. I love cheese. And so I was like, okay, I need a cheese grater. So I did this for just a cheese grater. Okay, what's on Amazon? What's at the, local kitchen stuff plus? What's on sale? Okay, this is probably the best one. I actually looked at reviews. I'm such a dork. And then I bought a cheese grater, right? I haven't received it yet, so I will let you know if I advocate for it. But this journey happens to all of us, whether we're buying something really big, like a house or a vacation or a car, and if we're buying a cheese grater. So we can talk to people that are in a specific phase of the customer journey. That is one way for us to get specific with our email marketing, right? Another way is what I showed you guys last week when I was talking about, okay, we broke our database into groups and we figured out who our people are that are in our database. And then we figured out what those people actually need to hear or want to hear right now. So that's another way to be specific, to take the people that we already have and to figure out where they are and what they need. And another way that we looked at to segment our messages, we looked at on Tuesday, is that we can just put them into buckets. So if we are sending out a newsletter, if we are emailing out, so I send my love letter out every single month, it goes out to my database, and I have the ability to put people in buckets and to send them different newsletters or love letters based on who they are. Now, you'll never know if I do that because you won't know what bucket you're in. But that's the beauty of email marketing, is that we can divide people up and send them different things based on who they are. So when we are imagining our marketing, when we are thinking about sending emails in mass to a bunch of people in our database, I want us to think a little more specifically. Are we aiming at the grass? Are we aiming for the one-pointers? Or do we want to get that three-pointer beanbag in the hole, right? I don't know about you, but I would really love to have more of those three-pointers because, it takes a lot of effort to be sitting there chucking beanbags at our database all the time in hopes, right? Fingers crossed that it's going to work. So we want to make sure that we are being specific. Specific is one of the most important words when it comes to marketing, and it's the one that most people are afraid of. Oh my gosh, if I don't spread my net really wide, I'm not going to make, have enough conversations or get enough leads to make a difference. Incorrect. When we are creating marketing, and especially when we are creating emails, the more specific we can be, the better. So I want you to remember this. Don't be afraid to be specific. Be afraid not to. Because these days, all it takes is for somebody to click the button unsubscribe. And then for you to get them back in that database is really hard, right? It's a little different if they just scroll past you on social, like eventually the algorithm may bring you back. But an email, if they're like, see you later, it's difficult to get them back. And so is the more specific we can be, the better. So how do we do that? I'm going to give you 5 things that we need to remember today when it comes to email marketing, when it comes to being specific. All right. Are you with me? Can I get a thumbs up? Everybody good? Everybody's tracking with me so far. Does anybody else struggle to say the word specific 3 times fast? My little sister didn't have her front teeth for a long time when she was little, and she said Pacific. So I always think about that, and sometimes that comes out instead of specific. All right, great. Good morning, Elizabeth. Hi, ladies. All right. Okay, number 1. What do we do when we are email marketing or any marketing and we are talking to our people and we are getting specific? One of the ways that we can do this is give them something that they need, right? What does our audience need most right now? This is something that I'm constantly reminding you of. This is a question that we should constantly be asking ourselves. Give them something they need. All right. So in the very first session of summer camp, I gave you the recipe for telling a great story. What? So what? Now what? So if we use this recipe, that very first question is, what is the story your customer needs to know? What do they need? What do they need to hear most right now? So I'm going to be real honest, and I'm going to tell you that my house, the one I'm standing in right now, is for sale right now. And it's been on the market for a while because the market where I am is a little bit sluggish. And what I need to hear most right now from my agent is, it's okay. We're looking at the comps. We're keeping an eye on things. We understand where things are going, and it's okay. That's what I need to hear most right now. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. It's just basic psychology. That's what I need to hear most right now. So what does your customer need to hear most right now? And when you are thinking about that question, I want you to think specifically about a particular group of people that you are talking to. Because remember, if we're just aiming at the grass, we're just chucking beanbags. So if we are talking about that one specific group, what is the beanbag that is the 3-pointer? What is this question, the story that they need to hear most right now? And so here's how we might structure this using the recipe, what, so what, now what? The biggest challenge that I see my clients facing right now is this, but there's a solution. This is what you need to know, and here's what you need to do next. See? Not rocket science, basic psychology. We're using the what, so what, now what recipe here, and we're telling people the biggest challenge that I see my clients facing right now is X. Now, that could be inventory. That could be making big decisions. I know that I've got friends in higher education that watch this. And so maybe one of the biggest client challenge you see with potential students right now is just making a decision or committing to a major or coming back to get their master's, or maybe it's money, maybe it's finances, whatever that is. But each of you know what the biggest challenge that particular group is facing. And you know that there are solutions. Maybe they're not easy solutions. Maybe they're not immediate, easy button, magic wand solutions, but there are some solutions. So here's what you need to know. And here's what you need to do next. So when you follow this recipe, it's not complicated. We don't have to overcomplicate this. We tend to overcomplicate marketing. Oh my gosh, let me just throw this in ChatGPT and make it sound more professional. No, talk to people like you would talk to them face to face. Be normal, be human. That's what people want, right? So I have a bucket in my inbox, in my mail, that is called Saved Stuff. I know, it's very creatively named. And in it, I save emails from all of the different newsletter people that I follow that are really good. So when I find something that's really good, I chuck it in my saved stuff. And then when I'm not feeling inspired, I'll go in and I'll read back through those. And I'll be like, oh, that was a good idea. How could I use that? Maybe I share it with you in one of my love letters. Maybe I repurpose it into, a post or a keynote or whatever. But I have this huge folder that goes back years. So I went in and I opened this folder and I just started taking some screenshots. And I want to show you what stands out. immediately in the stuff that I've kind of like outlined in red there, immediately it's telling me what I'm going to get. It's telling me what I need. A resource guide, 5 short and long ideas, inspiration. It's clearly telling me right in the subject line what I can expect and what I'm going to get. And what I love about this is typically that's the piece in the email that's most important to me because they are talking to me, somebody like me who would subscribe to these kinds of people and these kinds of newsletters. And so we want to make it obvious, hey, this is what you need. There's a solution. And this is what you do next, right? So I'm going to ask you, and if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. What are 3 things that my clients need to hear most right now? You should be able to come up with these. You don't need ChatGPT for this. What are 3 things that your clients, and I want you to think about that specific bucket of clients, right? Put it in the hole. So what are the 3 things those people need to hear most right now? Just start talking about those. Send an email that says, hey, this is one of the biggest challenges that people are facing right now that are in this particular situation, but there's a solution. Here's what you need to know, and here's what you do next, right? Okay, so that's the first way that we can get specific. The second way is fun. Make them smile. Make people smile. We take this so seriously. The reality is that, again, remember the stat that I showed you? I don't know if I've shown you in camp. I forget if I've told you this, but people remember 30% more if they are laughing when they are learning. So if I am enjoying myself, I remember 30% more. So this isn't just a great feel-good strategy. This is a good marketing strategy. Make people smile. They are more likely to feel, right, than think, understand, do, and remember. So I go back to my saved stuff and I scrolled a little while longer and then I saw a couple of these. 3 Frogs on a Log from my friend Meg. The Art of Not Giving a. I loved that headline that Jackie used. That was so good. I opened that immediately. Why My 4-Year-Old is Better Than Alex Hormozi. These are fun subject lines that already make me feel like this is going to be a fun newsletter. And then I open it and it makes me smile. And I remember the 3 Frogs on a Log story. Remind me to tell you that sometime. It is so good, right? It is so good. And it's hilarious. So, and I know there are people here that are watching or are going to listen to this that have heard me tell the Cinco de Mayo joke. I mean, so good, right? I know you can tell me in the comments. It was the best joke you've ever heard. But when we make people smile, they remember because they feel. And so what is going to make people smile? Now, the algorithm does this really well for us. The algorithm tends to feed us stuff that we like because as soon as we click on something that we like, it gives us more of it. So this is the kind of stuff that shows up in my algorithm. How to organize your pantry. Yes, I am the kind of person that puts labels on everything. Flower farms in West Michigan, where my family lives, where you can go and pick flowers. I mean, my love language. Cottage gardens, paint colors. Saw this one from my friend Maddie, who sells in Tacoma yesterday, that she was like water spots for summer fun. Love this. This is the kind of stuff that makes me smile and it makes me click. Now, none of this is particularly work inspired. None of this is particularly, related to what I do, but it keeps coming up in my feed and it makes me smile. So as you're emailing, if you're sending things that are lighthearted and make people smile, and you watch that people are opening them and watching them and sharing them, give them more of it. If they are liking things and they are clicking on links, go in and give them more of it. Give the people what they want, people, right? And there's the options here are endless. Like there are so many ideas, especially right now in the summer, that you can talk about that'll make people smile. Kids, activities, bloopers, ice cream. I saw the other day, it was like 5 best places to go and get a ice cream sundae in my town. And I was like, yes, please. Ways to, like, a lot of people right now have teenagers trying to make money or find a summer job, or like, where's the best coffee, where do you take your pets, like where do you go for a 1-day vacation within driving distance, All kinds of stuff make people smile. And if you don't know, ask your people. What do you love? What would you love more of? What makes you smile? I would love it. If you are listening right now, jump in the chat and put a comment and let me know what makes you smile. It doesn't have to be work related. What is one thing that makes you smile? Like I see some of the people that are on here and I know some of these answers. What makes you smile? If you don't know what makes your client smile, that is your biggest homework is to figure out what are some of the stories that you can tell in your marketing or in your emails that are going to make people smile, because that is the second and one of the most powerful ways of making being specific with our marketing. All right, number 3. Yes, I knew Nikki was going to say that. I almost said Nikki's going to say cute dogs. She's going to say something about dogs, and Dave too, specifically his dog. Cat videos. Elizabeth, no shame. I love cat videos too. All right, number 3. Tell them something they don't know. Remember, our goal is to make them feel and think and understand. And this really ties into that. If we tell people something they don't know, then they are more likely to not just remember us, but also think about us and continue to think. What happens when you are told something you don't know? When you learn something crazy? If I gave you like a really random stat today that you were like, no way, I didn't know that. What would you do? You would tell somebody else, right? If you were my sister Bonnie, you would tell everyone, because it's well known in my family that if you need everybody to know something, just tell Bonnie. Everybody will know within the day, right? That is pretty much human nature. When somebody tells us something, we go home that evening, we sit down at the table and we go, do you know what I learned today? You are never gonna guess, because we can't wait to now tell somebody else so that they get that feeling, right? And so when we tell people something they don't know, they remember, and they remember us. So what are 3 things your customers or clients don't know or understand about the work that you do? What do you do every day in your job that would make me go, huh, I never knew that. I had no clue. I didn't know that that was something that you even had to do, right? And this comes up all the time. Like people will reach out to me and say, can I pick your brain about being a speaker? And I'll say, yeah, this and this and this. And they'll be like, what? I had no idea. Yeah. And so we all have those things about our jobs. What are 3 things that your clients don't know or understand about the work that you do? And how can you tell them that? How can you share that with them? And how can you put that into a story of, so guess what I'm spending my day doing today? Sometimes my, posts are, my office today is, like I spoke in a church a couple of months ago. I was like, today my office is a church, right? Sometimes people don't realize, like I've spoken in curling rinks and all kinds of things. We all have those things. Tell those stories. All right, number 4, 4th way to get specific especially in your emails, but with any of your marketing, so that you get in that 3-point hole in cornhole, right? Give them more context. This is one of the most powerful ways that we can market in our business, because most of the time, what our clients are hearing are headlines. They are hearing a snippet of information. They are reading a headline and not reading the article. Guilty, 78% of us. We are hearing something from somebody else, but we're not hearing the backstory. And so they are potentially thinking incorrectly about things because they've only just gotten the headlights, or the highlights instead of the context. And so this is our job. So Katie Steinfeld, she's an agent here in Toronto. She is one of the people in the world that I think is doing this the best. You should definitely follow her on Facebook or Instagram. One of the things she does super well is she looks at what her customers are looking at just the highlights, just the headlines. And she is breaking it down and giving context on a regular basis. So almost every day, she's got a video or a carousel or a post about here's the context for what you're hearing. So, what you actually need to know about landlord and tenants, what you actually need to know about contacting your representatives about data centers. She's really been talking a lot about data centers lately, and she's doing an excellent job. She talks about things like, what are the regulations around rental properties and things like air conditioning and renovations. She talks about AI. She talks about recent lawsuits. And I'm constantly, when I'm seeing headlines, thinking, I'm just going to go see what Katie has to say, because she's wise and she is interesting and she's funny, but she also breaks it down in a way that I can hear it and pay, like, not just lose attention span, but understand it. And we can all learn a lot from Katie. So if you are seeing those regular highlights or headlines about things that are happening in your market, this is a great way to give people context. And these are some of the biggest topics out there in the housing industry right now. Like data centers is everybody is talking about them. Everybody is talking about whether they're good or they're bad, or we should stop them, or are they healthy or good for the environment? And they just need a little more context. Climate change, huge topic right now, considering that, I don't know, like a good 14% of North America is on fire. Flood insurance, property taxes, HOAs, short-term rentals, probate, capital gains. Now, you might look at some of these and be like, that's not my bag. That's okay. Pick something else. Pick something that you are interested in, that you can talk about with interest. I saw a lot of you saying things like dogs and beach photos and capybara photos and videos. Love all those things. Pick something in your wheelhouse that you are enjoying, that you like learning about. I love nerding out on marketing, which is why I talk to you guys about marketing. So pick out the thing that stands out to you and give people context. All right, fifth, last way for us to be specific with our marketing, specifically with our emails, because I really want you to start thinking more deeply about your database and sending emails. Fewer people are getting through the noise of the algorithm every day. More and more people are leaving the socials because they're becoming full of ads and kind of a lot. And so the one thing that you can own, y'all, the one thing is your email database. And so if you aren't reaching out to people via email, I implore you to start, because it's easy to throw things up on social media, but it's a lot more effective to make sure that you are in their inbox on a regular basis with things that they need. So lastly, homework for this one. Number 4, what are 3 headlines that your clients need context for? What are 3 headlines that they're hearing right now that they need more information? Again, maybe it's data centers, maybe it's climate change, maybe it's HOAs, maybe it's a new bylaw, whatever it is. Pick 3 headlines and use those as a jumping off point. All right, number 5, one of my favorites. Introduce somebody else. We don't have to make this too complicated. We don't have to overthink this. If you need a reason to reach out, and remember how we talked about marketing on Tuesday and a bunch of you said, ooh, I don't reach out because it's been a while. Great. Here's a really low entry way to reach out if it's been a while. Introduce somebody else. What are 3 people your clients should know or follow? I do this in my love letter all the time. So if you get my love letter, I'm loving following these people on Instagram. This person is one of my favorite newsletters that I get. This is somebody that you should totally listen to their podcast. This is person who's just has a book coming out. Who are people that your people need to know? Maybe it's vendors in the space. Maybe it's, your partners, your referral partners, or ancillary services, or maybe it's just people that you think they should follow because they're fun. Hey, you know what? I don't remember her name right now, but I'm following one of my favorite Instagram accounts. I think her name is Jojo Tastic. That might be wrong, but she is, DIYing a renovation of a house, and She's hilarious. And she's constantly finding dead mice in the walls. And like, it's just a good time. And I feel like everybody should follow her because she just makes you laugh, right? So, who are 3 people that your client should know or follow? That's a really good question to ask yourself. And then make it be a reason to reach out and send an email and say, hey, you know what? Here are a couple people you should be following, maybe in our community, maybe people like Katie, or maybe like this really great local reporter who's doing some great research on data centers, whatever it is, right? I want you to remember the cornhole game. I want you to put this picture in your mind. Write cornhole on a sticky note and stick it in front of you so you remember. Whenever you are marketing, whenever you are sending an email, making a video, posting on Facebook, jumping on whatever the socials that you are on, anytime that you are reaching out to somebody, I want you to think, am I just lobbing this anywhere? Is this going to hit the grass? Is this maybe it'll just get on the board for a point? Or is this I am being specific enough that I know what my person needs, or what is going to make them smile, or what is going to inspire them to take action, or what is something that they need more context on, or somebody that they need to know. That is what is going to get it in the hole. So remember, our goal is to make them feel something, make them think, help them to understand, make them take action, and help them remember. So here's something fun, makes them feel something. Here's what you need to know, makes them think. Here's what you might not know, helps them to understand more about the work that you do. Here's more context, helps them to actually take action and pay attention. And here's who you need to know. You are always going to remember somebody who, was the matchmaker for you and somebody else great, right? So I gave you 5 ways to be specific today, 5 ways in your marketing to help them feel, think, understand, do, and remember. So I'm going to give you some homework. First, I'm going to answer Elizabeth's questions. How do we watch replays? They are all on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, Valerie Garcia Speaks. They're all there. You can also follow me on Facebook, and you can scroll down through my feed and you'll find them. But the faster way is to go onto YouTube, and they are all there in a nice little playlist that says Marketing Summer Camp 2026. All right, y'all, your homework is this. Choose one idea, not them all. Don't choose them all. One idea. Get specific. Aim for the hole. I know how that sounds. I don't even care anymore. Aim for the hole. Get it in the hole, right? And email your people. All right. Next week, Tuesday, we are coming back for session 5. I am unreasonably excited about this one because I nerded out on something that is so fun. You are going to love it. So do not miss next Tuesday. We are going to learn marketing lessons from the pros. We are going to look at what the very best marketers in the world are doing right now and why they are winning. And it's super, super fun. So come back next Tuesday. Catch us then. As always, thank you for joining. Just 30 minutes. Twice a week in July to inspire you. If you are enjoying this, please invite someone to join or share it. Just go into Facebook, share the post, say, hey, I think you would like these, and join us for next week. Or you can share the YouTube link. But please invite a friend. I would really appreciate it. You can follow me on YouTube and find all of the recordings there. And there's a little QR code here. I'm not charging for summer camp this year, but if you are finding it valuable, you can absolutely make a donation to my Feed My Cat Fund right there. And me and my cat, who's sitting right next to me, by the way, would enjoy it. All right, y'all. I will see you next Tuesday. Go and do your homework. Share it with me. Thank you for joining. Stay safe. And I will see you next week.